The rain lashed against the lab windows like God was tapping along to a Neil Peart drum solo. Victor Frankenstein gritted his teeth, his mop of a fringe plastered to his forehead by the sweat. He needed to hurry up, the storm would soon be upon him. He was so close, and if he didn't have the creature ready in the next few minutes, he'd have to wait until the next storm. And who knew when that would be? No, it had to be now, it could not wait. Lightning flashed on the horizon. 15 seconds later, the thunder rumbled, distant. The rain became heavier, striking the panes in sheets. If only he still had Igor, there wouldn't be any stress. But his faithful servant had left him up the proverbial creek without a rowing tool, the ingrate. So, now, Victor had to manage everything himself. Igor should be doing the grunt work whilst he busied himself with brilliant science. Now, he had to contend with stitching the creature and raising the platform himself. If only Igor hadn't gotten so greedy and demanded more money and better treatment. It wasn't that Victor couldn't afford it. He was rich enough to chase these scientific dreams that earned no money without fear of poverty. But it was the sheer principle of it all. Why did nobody want to work anymore? Victor Tutade, armed the sweat out of his eyes, and continued stitching like a madman. Throughout the lab, strobing electrical devices crackled and arced blue sparks. Test tubes and bottles bubbled with neon liquids, green and purple. Now and then, the lab lights dimmed when the wind whipped against the building. Victor's top lip held beads of perspiration. His tongue stuck out the corner of his mouth, and his brow furrowed in concentration. All that focusing on bottling lightning had burned his retinas, damaging his eyesight. Was this why Igor had requested goggles, citing PPE laws and claiming workers' rights? Bah, what nonsense. A real scientist handled reagents unloved and pipette with his mouth. It was about time that Igor understood how the world worked. With a final burst of focus, Victor stitched the last stitch and tied the end off. He let out his breath and stood back to survey his handiwork, using his fingers to frame the scene. The creature lay on the platform, strapped down by the wrists and ankles. A bolt stuck out of each side of its neck, ready to receive the spark of life from the heavens. Its patchwork skin ranged from funeral drum gray to putrescent green. The stitches adorning its body were wobbly, going from too close together to too far apart. The thread also had a few colors because Victor hadn't purchased the new spools Igor had requested. He claimed the departmental budget didn't allow it. He'd had to rummage in his junk drawers for string scraps to sew the creature. It was shoddy work. But Victor had done it in half the time Igor would have taken. Why did it take him so long to do this basic stuff? Whatever, it didn't matter. The creature was ready, and